Hey, welcome to MLS Training. A multiple listing service, or an MLS, is the powerhouse behind real estate transactions. It's a comprehensive database where real estate professionals share and access detailed information about properties on the market. Think of the MLS as the ultimate networking platform for buying and selling homes. In today's video, we'll dive into how to navigate and maximize the Tallahassee Board of Realtors MLS to supercharge your real estate business. Stay tuned. Today's training is just an overview of what the MLS can do, and basically I'm doing enough here today for you to jump into the MLS and start playing around with it and getting comfortable with it. So let's start with your profile. If you come to the upper right hand corner, you can see that my name is there. If I click on my name, it brings this up and I can bring up my preferences. I'm going to encourage you to click on absolutely everything here. You're going to want to upload an image, because that's how the other agents in the board will see you, and it's kind of nice to have a picture to a name. I would recommend you do what the directions tell you. Don't bring in a huge file. I would take it to a site like tinypng.com. That's tinypng.com. And so you take your image there and you upload it to that site, and then you download a shrunken size, and that means it loads a lot faster and it just works better on other systems. But mess around with all these different options and recognize that this is where you go when you want to change your picture, and that's really about it. The next thing we want to do is we want to go to all of these different top menu tabs, because these are the primary buttons you're going to be using. If you go to home, that's where we were before. Most real estate companies provide no technical applications for their agents, so most agents in the board rely on this MLS to run their business. And I can tell you, most of this stuff is antiquated. It's very, very old. It's not very robust, doesn't do a lot to help you. And so there are some key components here. We're going to say, yeah, don't worry about it. We've got better stuff. But the MLS is a critical tool for you to know how to use, and it's going to be the place where you do most of your valuations on properties. So let's start with the membership button. Okay, when we come over here, what's great about the membership button is it takes you right to an agent roster. If you want to look up an agent's name, if you want to look up their email address or their cell phone number, that's where you want to go. Okay, now the button you're going to click on the most is this search button. And if there's a subheading you're going to click on the most, it's going to be residential, because mostly what you're going to be doing is residential search. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the steps of doing a very basic property search and what fields you need to pay attention to, the ones you can kind of skip. But the only way you're going to get comfortable with this MLS system is if you go in and do 20 or 30 searches. You need to go in and create some fake customers in your head. What are they looking for? Where do they want to be? What kind of price range do they have? What are their peculiar needs for a home? Put that in the search and look at the kind of results you get. Now, remember, this is my login. Yours is going to look a little different because mine's also the company level one. And like right here, you can see that this loaded up, sorry, that doesn't help. This loaded up the monthly Leon months of supply. This is my default search. Okay, and this is because I do a lot of reporting, and this is what I want to see come up first. So it looks complex, but it's actually fairly simple once you do 20 or 30 searches. Okay, over here, this is the number of properties that show up in our results. So if I just hit the count button, there's 892 residential properties in the results area that I've identified. So let's talk about what I've done. And if you click on any one of these magnifying glasses, it'll bring up all your options. And so you can see I'm searching condominiums, detached single-family homes, and townhouses, and I'm omitting mobile homes. Okay? Now, you might want to do a mobile home search. You might want to include mobile homes, but generally speaking, mobile homes are not comparable properties to the other three, and the other three are fairly comparable to each other. And then we have to tell it, well, what status of listings do we want to look for? Okay, and this again is set up for my normal inventory search, and it basically brings up every single listing. Okay, and so every category except for coming soon. And coming soon technically aren't listings, those are listings that are coming soon. So I even include the pending in this. And you could include solds and expireds and withdrawals and all that. But what we're going to do is walk through the basic search for a property for a customer. Okay, then where does your customer want to be? Well, again, bring up the magnifying glass. And I'm saying, well, right now I got a customer that wants to be in Leon County. And so there's 4 different quadrants to Leon County. You have to check them all. But your buyer might not want to be in the Southwest or maybe not in the Northeast. You only need to select what you know your buyer is looking for. This is still set up to be pretty general search. Okay, and then that is all I've entered. But most buyers, you want to put in a general price range. Let's say you have a buyer that's qualified for $450,000. I would probably start my search from $400,000 to $500,000. Okay, well, you can see over here that's brought us down to 131 properties. So we've gotten rid of about 80% of the properties just by putting in a price range here. Okay, now you might know that there's no way they would take a house with less than 3 bedrooms. So if I put that 3 in there, our 131 drops to 130. So it just shows you from 400 to 500, there's only 1 property that has less than 3 bedrooms. So let's change that to 4. Now it drops it to 50. Okay, and then total number of bathrooms. Let's say we want at least 3 full baths. Okay, hit the count button and boom, we're down to 16. The key to doing a property search for a client is to try to narrow it down to a handful of properties. Today, that's very easy to do because there's just not many homes on the market. But as times change and cycles change, you're going to be able to go in here and really get good at this. One of the things I often like to go do is say yes or no to a pool, because pools add about $50,000 to the value of a home. And so if someone specifically doesn't want a pool, why have them pay for one? So let's just start with a no on this for a pool. Our 16 now is down to 13 homes. And if I'm sitting here with a buyer, that's a pretty decent starting point. But generally speaking, I don't like to go through the MLS with the buyer. I like to take the buyer to Manasa.com and use the property search there. That is a better presentation site. Now, I'm very comfortable using the MLS, and so if I'm doing a CMA, if I'm doing something where I really want to know what's going on for my buyers, I'm probably going to jump into the MLS. But when you're working with customers, you want them to be comfortable on your website. If they're on your website, if they're on Manasa.com, we're not selling their contact information to other agents in town. But if they're on Zillow, Zillow's selling their contact agent information to other agents in town. So keep them on your site. It's better for you. Okay, so I bring this up and I go, okay, with all these properties, there's only 8 of them that are really available. And then you can start going through those and looking at those. So that's a basic overview of the search. I just want you to understand that you're not going to get good at the search by watching this video. You need to do a bunch of searches. One of the things you can do, one of the things I love about this search is I like going into the map search, okay, and maybe zoom it into the part of town they want to be in, and you might want to go, okay, let's draw a nice little polygon, and let's say they said they want to be inside of Thomasville Road, but south of Bradfordville Road, and maybe they want to keep it west of Centerville Road. And they want to be north of I-10. Boom. Now it draws this nice little polygon. I hit search, And now there's only 2 properties. So if that was indeed where they wanted to be, there's a brand new listing and there's an active listing. So you can click on the MLS number and you can start looking at the properties. Okay, generally speaking, when a property opens up to a kitchen view, that means the front of the property's ugly. So I bet if we, man, they're going to hide the front of that property. Yeah, there we go. So, use this, practice this, and you're going to have great results. Here's the new listing. And up here, it shows you there's 2 listings. There's one that's on the market for 1 day and one on the market for 195 days. Okay, so obviously the one at 195 days, the previous one, might be an opportunity for our Zoom CASA program or something like that. But let's move on. So that's the search button. Spend some time in there. It'll do you some good. Next button is the listings button. When you take a listing, you need to enter it into the MLS, and this is where you get that done. Okay? The MLS is a marketing tool that allows you to syndicate your listings to the entire world. Think of your MLS entry in terms of marketing, not in terms of forensic accounting, meaning your answers to questions should be done in the light of what would a buyer be searching for online. And here's an example, the zip code. Do you think buyers are going to say, hey, tell me everything in the 32312 zip code? Or are they going to say, tell me everything in the 32312-0424 zip code? In other words, when we go to enter in a listing, one of the entry fields that we have is zip code. So if you go 32312 and then you add the last 4, which is great accuracy, super job from a nerd standpoint. Well, in marketing, no one's searching for 0424. No one even knows what those final 4 numbers are. So if this goes to a lot of older websites that don't know how to handle this zip code, the zip code could end up being 20424, the last 5 digits. If there's only room for 5 digits in someone's website, who knows what it's going to grab here? So a lot of people who put in 9-digit zip codes, their listings aren't showing up on every website out there on the internet. So it's a major mistake. So again, we're not doing this so that we put in a great mailing address zip code. We're doing this from a marketing standpoint. We want this home to be prominently featured in the 32312 zip code. So there's little tricks of the trade you're going to learn like that you want to understand that this is a marketing form. You are not going to be graded on what you put in here by anybody but the seller. And the seller doesn't know that the 32312-0424 is a mistake. But if you want to take care of your seller and you want your seller posting 5-star reviews about your performance, you need to get this right. And so again, practice. Get in here and start entering in listings. And when it says, do you want to save it? Say no. Okay? You need to put in a tax ID number. Where do you get that? Well, you get the tax ID number from the property assessor's website. So there's things you've got to learn. And what's cool, though, is a lot of these have the spyglass here, and you go, okay, it wants property type, and you just select the type that it is, and it fills it out for you. Okay, area. There are designated areas in the MLS. You got to get this right. I see errors on this regularly, and it doesn't make sense. Okay, Leon County doesn't say Leon on here. It just says Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, and Southwest. Okay, all the other counties have counties. You got to know which one each one of these are. And if you have questions on stuff like that, this is great to bring up in your training classes. Okay. Again, this looks confusing, looks intimidating, but I can promise you it's a simple form. You just go through it and you fill it out. And I want to encourage you to use AI programs like ChatGPT and say, hey, write me a marketing piece about a listing and then tell it about the listing. It's got 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's in a popular 32312 zip code. It's this, it's that. It's got a pool, whatever. You feed it in here and it'll turn around and write a listing entry for you that is way better than you would think on your own. So learn how to use some of the AI that's out there. You'll have to put in room measurements. This is a ton of work to enter in a listing. So I'm going to strongly encourage you to go through and do 5 to 10 of these examples and put in your own home. Because as you go through, you go, well, lot dimensions, where do I get those? Okay. What about the commission? How is this properly filled out? Well, we're going to have more advanced training for you at the company on this, but we can't get you to understand the more advanced side of this until you understand the simple side. Okay, so let's move along. We have some further buttons. You have a CMA button. Well, we have designed, and that CMA stands for a comparable market analysis. Basically, what's a home worth? Well, we're going to teach you how to do that. This is more of a presentation version of it, and it's full of a bunch of garbage that seemed really cool 20 years ago when this product came out. We've got a much better presentation that you're going to use with sellers, so your CMA is not really part of the presentation. We're just going to tell them a number, but you need to understand how to do a CMA. You need to know how to bring the information with you in case you're having a hard time getting them buying in on the valuation. Okay, contacts, you can find anybody you can put in your own people, but the contacts tab, again, is very much state-of-the-art 2005. And we've got a much better database CRM for you to use that you're just not going to need this. And I've messed with this enough to know that most people aren't putting in contacts. So some of the benefits that this could bring us just really don't exist. Financials, again, we've got better tools at the company. Tax takes you is a great place for you to explore and see some of the different tax sites that can give you information about properties. And resources, preferences, mess with all of this, but you're going to spend most of your time in the search, in the listings. Hopefully a lot of time in the listings. If you're entering in listings, you're making money. So that's our overview for the MLS. Don't be afraid to bring us questions and observations, and we'll see if we can get an advanced MLS training video out that's really going to do a good job explaining how to use this great tool.